Yeah, so here we go again. I'm at the usual spot. I've had a somewhat productive day, I guess. Um, Hair is open because I was actually sweating earlier. You wouldn't believe it. I guess the relative humidity was fairly high. It went too cold, and I did some physical labour. Not in the legal sense, but in the sense of actually moving. Just helping out in the odd spot at my former place of internship while I sat there thinking about writing and writing. And I actually managed to do some writing to the point where I've written the best part of a page today, starting over from scratch. And that best part of the page lay out the infrastructure I need for the next 8 pages, hopefully. So that's something I'll have to figure. That's something solid, you know. I did manage to wake up regularly today with societally adjusted or expected times. My circadian rhythm is not fucked no more, I guess. Though I only made it out of bed at like 9 in the AM, which is slightly concerning. I'm still sweaty, apparently. After I went to the tea joint, had a piece of cake and some tea. Surprise, what one do at tea joints? Strictly speaking, it's not just tea, it's tea with milk in this case, which is something I don't do too much and it's not too snobby. Well, beyond the fact that it is at a tea joint, so I guess it's somewhat snobby. And I used the opportunity to reserve a table for tomorrow, though last I spoke, in this kind of context, pretty much the same geographic location and the same location as in this car as well. I would have had an appointment on Friday. That has since shifted to tomorrow, that being Thursday. Today is Wednesday, the time is 29 past 7 in the PM. Weather is partial clouds, big clouds, partial blue skies, sunny, and very little breeze, like barely noticeable, but it's pleasant because not still air, you know. I've decided against switching off the dash cam in future for these, just because currently with the switch being out of order for whatever reason, it's a good switch. I haven't tested it, but I believe it, so you know it's true. I believe it. It must be true. I don't like the idea of unplugging it because I keep forgetting to plug it back in after, so I'm not going to be unplugging it no more. Which means whenever I turn on the ignition to get some fans going or to make sure the battery don't run flat on the car, which it's not supposed to anyways these days because I've got a new battery a while back, but I'm fairly confident I mentioned that at the time because it was a big change in my life about being mobile again. I keep forgetting to plug it in too much, and that's just meh. I mean, I only had one close run in today, which was a fat SUV switching lanes without indicating or looking. I had to full on brake, but considering the city, that's pretty normal. And then just now, on my way here from the T joint, surprise, I had a very odd experience because a professional driver, so someone who make their living driving, of one of the ride-sharing providers, just overtook me on the left, which, okay, people go over the speed limit all the time, and that's a 30 speed limit due to construction. But then they proceeded to go into oncoming traffic. Turns out they actually had a passenger, and the passenger weren't too fussed about it. If I were the passenger, I'd then say, fuck this, I'm getting out. Apparently the passenger went too fast. The driver noticed because I did honk my horn and flash my lights as if all hell were about to break loose. Which, to be fair, it was because they were going into oncoming traffic with, for oncoming traffic, a speed of approximately minus 50 kph. Oncoming traffic, would they obey to the speed limit, would be doing about 30 plus from their direction. So, plus 30. So that would have been a delta of 80 kph, which is bad. That's even considering oncoming traffic to obey the speed limits, which people don't. So for all sake of argument, we can say 90 kph collision, which would have not been fun. So I'm really happy I managed to save their arse. Though I would be lying if I didn't say I'd have some kind of call of the void for not flashing my lights at times like that. I mean, obviously I did it, and I'm happy I did it, and I'd do it again. But the call of the void kind of dictates, you could just watch the world burn. Obviously, it's the call of the void. It's like, oh, you can chuck your phone off this bridge. Do you really wanna? You could. You shouldn't, but you could. Yeah, I guess that's a funny way of thinking of it, but hell, I mean, that's how it is. Call of the void being, you should be flashing your light at them, letting them know that they perhaps shouldn't be driving in oncoming traffic. But you could not, you could just watch them hit someone innocent, which is the main reason I don't deem that a valid solution. I mean, the passenger'd be fine, they're far enough away from any collision point, and the driver did the trouble, but oncoming traffic is at no fault in that situation, and it's not fair toward whoever gets severely injured, maimed, dead, to their relatives, for letting someone like that learn a lesson, because odds are they aren't going to learn a lesson anyway. And people would be harmed. Stating the obvious, I know. But that's an odd call of the void kind of situation, and in contrast to that, at least they noticed me flashing my lights, so that's some good news. Because the fat SUV this morning, not that these people, when I say these people, I mean the people who can't drive by the rules of the road and got fat leased cars, I don't think they even noticed. And I was not a second away from flat on ramming them in the side. And yeah, okay, it's a fat SUV, it probably weighed about as much as this car, but being slammed in the driver's side door is still pretty shit for you, man. Like, these people don't have any will to live. I don't know. I mean, it's fair enough. A lot of people don't have the will to live, but you'd think if they want to unalive themselves, there's better ways than driving stupidly in traffic. Because what if you're maimed, man? I mean, come on. It's just, I don't get people. Surprised they were on their phone as I drove by them later on. Not a surprise, sadly. One place where I did give in to the call of the void, it's on my way here. I mean, most of these roads, I know the roads, and it's generally known the speed limits aren't enforced. I actually gave in to the call of the void because you could keep accelerating once you reach the speed limit, and I actually did it, and I actually ended up doing 62 kph in a 50. Admittedly not for long. I don't feel good, but it's the call of the void kind of thing of you could do it, which is slightly concerning for me, because giving in with the call of the void would also mean, ooh, is a foot crossing, zebra crossing. There's a cyclist on it. You could not brake for them. Then again, that's a very dangerous thing, and I should not be doing that, because though no one who was not directly responsible for it would come to harm, first off, it's not legal, and second off, I'd have to live with it. Then again, in the past, I have, in similar situations, just honked my horn to let them know there is no reason for me to stop here. You should not be going on the zebra crossing, which is a foot crossing, on your bicycle. You can get off your bicycle and go over the zebra crossing, but not on your bicycle. And in the past, I've actually had a close call situation with 3 cyclists whom all decided, ooh, I'm going to ignore that horn that's coming at me with 30 kph, which is the speed limit there. And they just kept going until I had to brake sharp before the zebra crossing because one just cut right in front of me. And obviously, is the aspect of looking out for one another is one of the legal bases of the rules of the road. Then again, why should I bend over if they decide they're better than the rules, or they don't know the rules, to be fair? I wouldn't know if they even know them. But they are partaking in traffic, which means they have the responsibility to inform themselves. I guess that's slightly concerning, yeah. What I did do is I've managed to establish that definitions are necessary with my academic writing today. I have several citations for that, surprise. Also, that with compound terms, I'll have to define every aspect of the compound before defining the compound in itself. My example for this was video art. You have to define video and art before you can define video art. And I think that's going to open up a whole big box where I've got to look out to not write a linguistics paper. Because in the end of the day, it's still a bachelor's in film. So I got to look out to not spend too much of the word count on just defining terms. Then again, I believe I can get away with 15-20 pages or so of just term definition. I have laid out the infrastructure to limit the definitions of terms for certain chapters. If I then add an extra definition in front of the chapter, that can limit it. So video art in title sequences or whatever, and I can just ignore all other video art in that chapter. I started actually defining, and I haven't gotten to define even compound terms. So applied physics, yeah, okay, defining applied in this sense don't make much sense, but physics you certainly have to define before you can say what applied physics is. So that's what I've been working on today. And finding citations for it's not a problem, but the problem is you don't just want to find citations to confirm your suspicions or your beliefs of what physics are in this case, which is what I'm kind of split about, because that's how I've done most of my past papers. Though it might not be the correct way, it's the only way that one can viably turn over these papers in this time. And I highly suspect it will be similar with this bachelor's thesis, which means academically it won't be pure. Pure in the sense of actually saying anything. It'll be an opinion piece to the point where I could just as well write an essay. Yes, an opinion piece with sources to back up my points of view, but not looking at sources that contradict my points of view, which is bogus. But then again, I'm not doing it for actually contributing to the world academically. I'm writing this thesis to get my bachelor's degree. Tomorrow I'll have to get out of bed and out of the house by noon. Again, today I did roughly the same. But I will want to have a shower tomorrow because it's been a couple of days and I'll need one. Good news, I still have soap for one shower, and then I'll have to order some in bulk, which is yet to be done, and I don't know if I want to do it before my multi-annual migration, during or after. I'll have to figure that out. Or I chicken out again and buy one singular pack of soap at the supermarket. I am hoping I'll manage to do the bulk order. I mean, it takes some energy to potentially get a discount, but I believe it's worth the effort, because it will cover my soap needs for years to come, and even then I'll have the infrastructure to reorder easily. But I've got a lot of things to do, and I probably shouldn't be organising my life currently. Then again, yesterday I did manage to write that one letter about TV tax, or the German equivalent, Rundfunkbeitrag, formerly known as GEZ. I did manage to apply for exemption, because I am entitled to exemption, and I did manage to send that out as a tracked letter today. So that's one less worry I'll have in the near future. Today I don't think I'll do much more bureaucratically, just because my mind's still in writing mode, and I'm still thinking about writing, but I'm not going to start writing today realistically, which means at worst I'll take some notes, but notes are worth something. I've considered getting myself the infrastructure in form of a shortcut, so a macro for Apple devices, to make citing easier. So you copy text, highlight, copy, then you go over the share sheet, and you automatically have a full-on citation for where you got it from and what it say. And I could do that, and I think I should, because it's spreadsheetable, and it'll separate my work further to research and then writing, not writing and at the same time researching. Researching in the loose sense, because it's not really research, just finding citations for what you believe. Apparently it's academic enough for Matches of Arts and Film, so meh. A colleague at my former place of internship, whom I shared my YouTube channel with just because why not, they have seen these, so hello. If you're watching, I suspect not, because their language preference is not English apparently, but might as well mention it. Also, thank you very much for watching. It means the world to me. We got some odd aural anomalies caused by aircraft flying overhead. I suppose that's to do with the weather. Clouds are not swallowing the sound, but it's reflecting off buildings and the floor at the same time. Which means there is a slight reverb on the actual audio you get. Impressive. I did manage to pre-roll some of these. Hemp cigarettes, or blunts, or whatever you want to call them. And I've been smoking significantly less tobacco while driving. Today I have had 5 car cigarettes. Yesterday I had a total of 5 car cigarettes. Yesterday I had a total of, I believe, 14 cigarettes in the day. Tobacco cigarettes, that is. Which is not too bad considering I actually managed to get on my feet and get out of the house. It's not aspirable. But it worked, you know. The only thing is these, they burn crooked if you don't look out. Just because the matter in it, you know. By the way, smoking kills, no matter what you smoke. Hemp is not much better than tobacco, it's just a little less bad. Don't smoke, don't start it. Yesterday, after I was done talking about being adult, I drove to a shopping centre nearby to get a unicorn plushie. Because invited friends on Sunday for their child's birthday after the fact, and the child like horses and it like glitter, and the unicorn have glitter on it, and it is a form of horse, so you know. Feel very adult, but it means a lot more to the kid than it do to me. So I might as well, you know. It's 2 birds with 1 rock. One thing I noticed earlier today is obviously the smoking for hemp and tobacco-based products is differently, because with these, you got to make sure they stay lit, which means you have 1 or 2 puffs of just puffing, not inhaling, Mr. Clinton. But then with tobacco cigarettes, you mustn't puff, or you don't have to. It's a waste of tobacco, to be fair. On my first cigarette after one of these, I still do it, just because I'm almost getting used to smoking these instead of tobacco. Puff. Puff. Inhale. And I've actually started smoking tobacco like this. It's kind of funny, because it's a waste of tobacco. That being said, earlier today at the post office, as I was sending that letter for TV tax, I did spend another tenner on a packet of cigarettes, so in hindsight I should have gotten at least 2 cartons while I was across the border, just because I believe I currently still have a range of several hundred K just in car tank, and then I have a jerry can to use and an emergency jerry can. Which means I needn't, no, I don't have to, there we go, tank anytime soon. Which means odds are I'll spend some more money on German tobacco cigarettes. At least I'm making them last almost 2 days a packet these days. But considering I like driving, and odds are I'll actually go for one of the multi-annual migrations before I actually run out of diesel in the car, I might just go up Poland and top up the diesel, get some cigarettes before I do the multi-annual migration, just because I am going to drive through most of the tank getting across the country, you know. So that's something I'll have to sort. I'm really looking forward to seeing family, particularly Grandma, just because, you know, why not? Not that I'm not looking forward to seeing the rest of the family. I'm actually looking forward to seeing just about any of them. Any of them. Well, not my dad, duh. The weather is really pleasant as of late, though it have been warm during the days. I believe it said we'll get approximately 30 degrees centigrade in the coming days. In a moment you'll hear the camera shut on, just because I am no longer unplugging it. Now it's only 18.5 degrees centigrade in the shade, which is not too unpleasant. Camera, there we go, and recording, 3 channels started.
Recording, 3 channels started.
One thing I've realised these days is it is rather hard to come up with consistently formatted titles for these, which means I've just been playing around. I might call these whatever, you know. I might have had the right idea in the first place, and then again it's not very descriptive of just doing session incrementally, which these days is just in parentheses or brackets behind it, depending on which side of the Atlantic you're from. The people whom I would bear character witness to, I guess, that I do not know. Yeah, camera, we know. They've grown in number. There is now 1 or 2 more YouTube channels whom I loosely follow, but whom I'd bear character witness to the protagonist of, I guess. Just because I believe they have enough of a portfolio that one can be witness to their character without knowing them in person. Perhaps I'm hoping for this to be that for me one day, you know. Who knows? Then again, it's not improbable that one day I'll just unlist all of these videos, because, or delete, even. Bit my tongue. That's something I'll have to figure out then, because these videos are loaded, and there is plenty of reasons to cancel me in them. Well, I am not bothered at this time about being cancelled. There is futures in which it may be possible I could be bothered. That being said, me saying this now here to you and me, thank you very much for sticking around and watching, by the way, is contradictory to the idea of then deleting them, because they'll still be out there potentially. I now have to assume the entire interweb to have downloaded them, you know. Which does lead to some self-restraint. I am really looking forward to tomorrow's appointment. For me, as a favour, for them as professional. First, I'll have to figure out the scope of where they want feedback, because they would like feedback to my uni experience. And if it's the whole organisation, I haven't got good news for them. And if it's just the place we have in common, then I have a lot of good news for them. So, you know, heavily depend on which resolution they want of institution. And that's something I guess I can be fairly proud of. When they asked whether I'd meet them for a hot drink of choice, well, they said a coffee. But I believe what they meant to say is a hot drink of choice in the societal norms that we have. I said I immediately decided they were also up for tea without even asking them, and suggested this place and asked them for a time window and gave them my time windows. So, you know, it just feels slightly odd, because they explicitly said coffee, and I responded with, "Oh yeah, I got this good tea joint." In this society, coffee can mean a lot of things, though. I mean, from sex to actual coffees, coffee can mean just about anything. Coffee can also mean a cigarette. You never know. It's all dependent on context, which is really hard to interpret. You know, coffee can be a bean. It can be a flavour of vape juice. Usually people mean a hot drink of one's choice, I believe. Unless it means sex. Then again, that can also be offered as a drink of one's choice. It does not have to be a coffee, and a coffee is oddly explicit. It's a specific drink, not much of your choice. Yeah, but I don't think I'll bother enough to do subtext in my life to ever get subtext like that. Be direct. I believe that was a previous title of one of these. I know it was. I've decided against doing subtext, which may be to the disadvantage of my body at some times, but it's not worth the huge Pandora's box one open if one start interpreting subtext, just because there is too many meanings to it, and I cannot clearly enough know which one people intend on using. This might be fuck subtext. Or subtext fuck. Hey! Might as well go for a thumbnail. There we go. One of those will cut work, you know. I think once I get home today, I'm just gonna chill, maybe play some video games. Probably eat some. Should really. Probably do bread with something on it, you know, cheese and some chorizo. Maybe some creme fraiche. See, well, we got stuff at home, so that's not the concern. Got drinks at home, that's very pleasant. And I've got plans for tomorrow, which is my one appointment. And after that, I'll either head to my former place of internship or remain at the tea joint to write and or research and or compose a macro/shortcut for Apple Shortcuts app to be able to easily cite. So then I can start figuring out definitions and citations, saving the citations somewhere, and when I write, I don't got to go look for the citations, you know. It's crazy how time flies. I'll blink and I'll have passed my degree. I'll have got my degree. Well, I'll have blinked. It'll be quite a while till then. Yesterday I did actually sleep alright. For change. Hope you sleep alright too. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching these. Or pretending you watched them. I don't actually know the difference, though I'm explicitly asking you to not just put them on and not even listen. If they're playing somewhere, please be watching them. That way the actual numbers are representative of reality. Magic, you know. Thanks very much for watching. Stay around. I'll see you around. Stay safe. Cheerio.